There's something uniquely painful about sitting in a room full of people who share your blood, only to realize they've never really seen you as family. My name is Ethan Cooper. I'm 32 years old, and this is the story of my grandfather's will reading, the day my family told me I deserved nothing, and the day a lawyer proved them devastatingly wrong. My grandfather, William Cooper, died 3 weeks before that cold November morning. He was 89, a self-made millionaire who'd built a chain of successful hardware stores across the Midwest. He was tough, demanding, and to most people, intimidating. But to me, he'd been something different. He'd been the one person who seemed to understand why I'd chosen to teach 5th grade instead of joining the family business. The reading was held at Patterson and Associates, a prestigious law firm in downtown Chicago. I arrived 15 minutes early, wearing my only suit, the one I'd bought for job interviews 6 years ago. It was slightly too tight now, but it was all I had. My family was already there. My father, Richard Cooper, 58, CEO of Cooper Hardware. My mother, Diane, perfectly put together, as always. My older brother, Marcus, 35, Vice President of Operations with his wife, Jennifer. And my sister, Claire, 29, Head of Marketing with her husband, Todd. They were dressed in designer clothes, discussing quarterly earnings and expansion plans. When I walked in, the conversation stopped. "Ethan," my father said, his tone making my name sound like a disappointment. "I'm surprised you took time away from your little teaching job." "Grandpa William died," I said quietly. "Of course I came." "Yes, well," my mother said, adjusting her pearls. "I suppose even you felt obligated to show up for this." Marcus smirked. "Hoping for a handout, little brother." Before I could respond, the lawyer entered. Robert Patterson was probably 60, with silver hair and kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He carried a leather folder and wore an expression that suggested he knew something we didn't. "Thank you all for coming," he said, gesturing for us to sit around the conference table. "I know this is difficult." William was a remarkable man. My father cut in impatiently. Yes, can we proceed?" "Some of us have businesses to run." Mr. Patterson's jaw tightened slightly, but he nodded. "Of course. Let's begin with the estate overview." William Cooper's estate is valued at approximately $42 million, including properties, investments, and business holdings. The number hung in the air. $42 million. I'd known Grandpa was wealthy, but I'd never really thought about the specifics. "The distribution is as follows," Mr. Patterson continued. "To Richard Cooper, the family home in Lake Forest, and $2 million. My father nodded, looking satisfied. "To Diane Cooper, the vacation property in Aspen, and $1 million. My mother smiled. "To Marcus Cooper, 30% ownership in Cooper Hardware and $3 million. Marcus pumped his fist subtly. Jennifer squeezed his hand. "To Claire Cooper, 20% ownership in Cooper Hardware and $2 million. Claire exhaled in relief. Then there was silence. Mr. Patterson looked at me, and I felt everyone's eyes following his gaze. "And to Ethan Cooper ... double quotes." He paused, and my stomach dropped. Here it came. The acknowledgement that I was the family disappointment. Probably a token amount, maybe $50,000 if I was lucky. But my father interrupted before Mr. Patterson could continue. "Before you go on," my father said, standing up, "I think we need to address something. Ethan hasn't been part of this family's legacy. He walked away from the business, from everything we built. He chose to be a school teacher, making what, $40,000 a year. Dad," I started. "No, Ethan, this needs to be said." He looked at Mr. Patterson. "My father built that business from nothing. He sacrificed everything for it. And this boy," he gestured at me like I was a stranger. He threw it all away to play with. "Children and finger paints. I teach 5th grade social studies," I said, my voice tight. "I don't use finger paints." Marcus laughed. "Whatever. The point is, you don't deserve anything from Grandpa's estate. You turned your back on everything he valued." "That's right," Claire added. "You were never there for family events, never helped with the business, never contributed to anything meaningful. Why should you benefit from his success?" My mother nodded. "Honestly, Ethan, you've been a disappointment since college. If it were up to us, you'd get nothing." The words hit me like physical blows. I sat there, 32 years old, being told by my own family that I was worthless, that my choice to teach kids to make a difference in young lives meant nothing. Are you finished? Mr. Patterson's voice cut through the room like a knife. Everyone turned to look at him. His kind expression was gone, replaced by barely controlled anger. Are you finished degrading your son and brother? He repeated. Now see here, my father started. No, you see here, Mr. Patterson said, his voice steady. I've been William Cooper's attorney for 30 years. I knew him better than most. And I have never, in all my years practicing law, been more disgusted by a family than I am right now. The room went dead silent. You want to know what William really thought? Mr. Patterson opened his folder and pulled out several documents. Let me read you something. This is from a letter William wrote to me 6 months ago when he was updating his will. He put on his reading glasses and began, Robert, my son Richard has run my business competently, but he's turned it into something soulless. He cares more about profit margins than the people who made those profits possible. Marcus is following in his footsteps, all ambition and no heart. Claire has talent, but she's become as materialistic as her mother. They see money as the measure of success, and they've taught their children the same values. My father's face was turning red. My mother looked like she'd been slapped. Mr. Patterson continued reading, but Ethan is different. When he told me he wanted to teach instead of joining the business, I was disappointed at first, I won't lie. But then I visited his classroom. I sat in the back and watched my grandson teach. Robert, he was magnificent. Patient, passionate, making history come alive for those kids. And after class, 3 students stayed behind kids from rough backgrounds, struggling, and Ethan spent an hour helping them, not because he had to, but because he cared. My eyes were burning with unshed tears. I remembered that day. Grandpa had shown up unannounced, sat quietly in the back, then left without saying much. I thought he was disappointed. William continues, Mr. Patterson said. I did some research. Ethan makes $38,000 a year. Did you know he spends his own money buying supplies for students whose families can't afford them? Did you know he runs a free tutoring program on Saturdays? Did you know the parents in his school district call him a miracle worker because he reaches kids that other teachers have given up on? My brother and sister were staring at the table now. William's final paragraph says this. I built a fortune, Robert. I built a business empire. But Ethan is building something more valuable. He's building futures. He's changing lives. That's the legacy I should have pursued. That's what matters. So, I'm going to make sure he has the resources to keep doing it. And to hell with what Richard thinks. Mr. Patterson set down the letter and looked at me. Ethan, your grandfather left you the following. The remaining 40% of Cooper Hardware, giving you controlling interest in the company. The downtown Chicago penthouse, the vintage car collection, and $28 million. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't process what I was hearing. That's impossible. My father roared, standing up. I'm the CEO. I've run that company for 20 years. And you'll continue to run it, Mr. Patterson said calmly. But Ethan will own it. William believed his grandson would ensure the company remembers its roots, taking care of employees, supporting communities, being about more than just profit. Marcus was on his feet too. This is insane. Ethan doesn't know anything about running a business. Then you should have been kinder to him, Mr. Patterson said coldly. Because as controlling shareholder, he can fire you, all of you. The room erupted. My family shouting, demanding, threatening to contest the will. But Mr. Patterson raised his hand. You can try to contest it. William anticipated you would. But he was of sound mind, and he left extensive documentation of his reasoning. You'll lose and you'll waste money on legal fees. Or you can accept his wishes and hope that Ethan is more forgiving than you deserve. He turned to me. Ethan, there's one more thing. William left you a personal letter. I'll give you privacy to read it. He handed me an envelope, and everyone else filed out, still arguing, still in shock. I sat alone in that conference room and opened my grandfather's letter with shaking hands. Dear Ethan, it began. If you're reading this, I'm gone, and your family has probably just shown their true colors. I'm sorry you had to hear them say cruel things. But I needed you to see who they really are before you make decisions about your future. You chose teaching because you wanted to matter. Because you wanted to make a real difference in the world. I'm proud of you for that, even though I never said it enough. I spent my life chasing money and I was good at it. But you know what I regret? I regret not spending more time asking what really matters. The money I'm leaving you isn't a reward, it's a tool. Use it to do even more good. Maybe start a foundation for underprivileged kids. Maybe reform the way Cooper Hardware treats its employees. Maybe just keep teaching and use the money to never worry about supplies again. Your father will be angry. Your siblings will be resentful. That's their problem, not yours. You owe them nothing. But if they can change, if they can learn what you already know, that success isn't measured in dollars, maybe there's hope for them. I love you, Ethan. You're the best thing this family ever produced. Make me proud. Love, Grandpa. I sat there crying, holding my grandfather's final words to me. The man I thought might be disappointed in my choices had actually been proud. Had seen me when no one else in my family did. When I finally left the conference room, my family was waiting in the lobby. They looked at me differently now. Not with disdain, but with fear and calculation. Ethan, my father started. His tone completely changed. Perhaps we were hasty earlier. We're family after all. We should discuss how to move forward together. No, I said quietly. No, Grandpa was right. You don't see people as people. You see them as assets or liabilities. And for my whole life, you saw me as a liability because I chose meaning over money. I looked at each of them. I'm not firing you. Not yet. But things are going to change at Cooper Hardware. We're going to pay better wages. We're going to provide better benefits. We're going to remember that we're not just selling hammers and nails. We're serving communities. You can't just... Marcus started. I'm the controlling shareholder. You can work with me or you can leave. Your choice. My mother stepped forward. Ethan, please, we're sorry. We didn't mean those things we said. Yes, you did. You meant every word. And maybe someday I'll forgive you for it. But right now, I need you to understand something. I didn't want Grandpa's money. I was happy with my life. But he gave it to me for a reason to do good with it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I walked out of that law office into the Chicago afternoon. I'd walked in as the family disappointment, the one who didn't deserve anything. I walked out as a multimillionaire with the power to change countless lives. But the money wasn't what mattered. What mattered was that letter. That validation. Knowing that someone, the person whose opinion I valued most, had seen me. Had understood that making $40,000 a year teaching kids was worth more than making millions selling hardware. My family had said I deserved nothing. But my grandfather had given me everything, not just wealth, but proof that I'd been right all along. That living a life of purpose and service was the greatest success of all. And no amount of money could ever be worth more than that.